Some business stories. The Nigerian Export Processing Zones Authority attracted $364.6 million in foreign direct investment inflows into the country from 2020 to the first quarter of 2023, creating over 30,741 jobs. NEPSA's Managing Director, Professor Adesoji Adeshugba, made this known while addressing journalists on the agency's key performance indicators in Abuja. A breakdown shows that a total of $102.93 million was recorded from international exports, while $1.14 trillion, or naira, from domestic market. Professor Adeshugba added that the agency recorded 8,157 skills transfer for the country during the period. He attributed the feat to the support of the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. Well, let's talk data privacy now. The Nigerian Data Protection Commission says no fewer than 7 banks in the country and other institutions have paid more than 200 million naira into the coffers of the federal government for violations of data privacy of Nigerians. National Commissioner of the Commission, Mr. Vincent Olatunji, was speaking in Abuja following the signing of the Commissions Act by President Bola Tinubu, says the penalties were within a year for infractions committed by the institutions after thorough investigations by the Commission. He did not, however, reveal the identities of the banks and the institutions involved, but explains that over 100 private sector institutions, were investigated for varying degrees of personal data privacy breaches within the past 1 year. International Finance Corporation, working with the Nigerian Exchange Group, wants more attention given to women in corporate organizations to enhance development markets. Market editor Efengekop reports.
The International Finance Corporation, an arm of the World Bank, pledges renewed efforts to help women to succeed in their business environment. Mr. Christian Mulamula, Principal Investment Officer at IFC, revealed this while speaking with journalists at an event that honored companies that showed interest in women's development. The IFC official said there was direct benefits to the economy in terms of higher growth, work efficiency and productivity when talented women were allowed into the boards and management of companies.
It's all about incentivizing, encouraging companies to look through the gender lens and begin to look internally in the organizations and begin to make the changes that would bring about or increase opportunities for women within their companies.
On funding African businesses for growth, Mulamula said that IFC deliberately monitors partner companies to ensure compliance to investment objectives.
When we invest in companies, it's very important for us to follow up on our investments, to supervise those investments, to ensure those investments are achieving the objectives that we set out to achieve. And that ranges from financial objectives, for example, meaning that if it's a business, it's growing that business, it's a profitable business. If it's manufacturing those products which are serving society. But also they are the softer side of the business, and that's where gender comes in.
At the same event, the chairman of the board of Nigerian Exchange, Dr. Umaru Kwaringa, urged quoted companies to ensure that dynamic women excel in their careers.
It is therefore very important that every organization puts in place policies and practices that encourage diversity and gender inclusiveness. And such policies make organizations stronger and more sustainable.
A business consultant, Maureen Obonna, wants women professionals to push harder to be able to solve problems.
I think we need to be creative, basically. For every problem, there is a solution or several solutions. What kind of solutions are we offering to solve the problems that we have in the world, basically?
Many observers believe that both International Finance Corporation and the Nigerian Exchange are gender-sensitive organizations. Efyong Ekop, TVC News, Lagos.
In Rwanda, latest data from the National Institute of Statistics shows that the country's service sector witnessed a significant recovery in the first quarter of this year, driving a 9.2% increase in the economy compared to the same period in 2022. The report reveals that the services sector contributed 44% of the GDP as a result of a robust rebound in the mines, meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibition events industry. Reports from the country's national bank reveals that the economy as a whole improved in 3 months leading up to March 2023. In the first quarter year-on-year, the Composite Index of Economic Activities, which is used to forecast the direction of economic movements in the coming months, surges by 14.4%. Now, stocks in Asia fell today as investors worried about China's latest rate cut. Maybe it will be enough to boost confidence in the weakening economy and hoped for a bigger stimulus package from Beijing. MSCI's broadest index of Asian Pacific shares outside of Japan fell 0.72%. China's benchmark CSR 300 was mostly flat, although Hong Kong shares skidded after the rate cut disappointment. E-money features for S&P 500 fell 0.33%, while the U.S. markets were closed for public holiday yesterday. Hong Kong stocks fell 1.47%, with its tech gauge dropping 2.41%, on disappointment about the size of China's rate cuts and continued worries about Sino-U.S. tensions. Japan's Nikkei fell 0.24%, with Australia shares bucking the trend, hitting a 7-week peak, with commodity stocks leading the charge. The International Monetary Fund is working on a platform for central banks' digital currencies to enable transactions between countries. A CBDC is a digital currency controlled by the central bank compared to cryptocurrencies, which are decentralized. Speaking in a conference attended by African central banks in Morocco, IMF's managing director, Ms. Kristalina Georgieva, says, and I quote, "We're working on the concept of a global CBDC platform. To have more efficient and fairer transactions, we need systems that connect countries. We need interoperability," end quote. The IMF's director added that the central bank needs to agree on common regulatory framework for digital currencies to avoid vacuum that could likely be filled by cryptocurrencies. Grab Holdings, Southeastern Asia's leading ride-hailing and food delivery app, is preparing its biggest round of job cuts since the pandemic. The layoffs are set to be announced this week and are likely to surpass a 2020 round that shrank staff by 360.5% of employees over economic impact of the pandemic. The ride-hailing and food delivery app has pulled forward its forecast for 2023 revenue and its profitability timeline. But Grab CEO told staff in December that the company was freezing most hiring, pay rises for senior managers, and quoted travel and expense budgets. Well, crude oil prices slipped today after China cut benchmark lending rates less than some expected, sowing further concerns over the oil demand outlook in the world's largest crude importer. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude experienced a downward price review of 0.71% to sell at $71.27 per barrel. Brent also sells at $76.39 with an uptick of 0.39%. Bonny Light recorded an upward price review of 0.39% to sell at $75.58. And for the OPEC basket, crude dealers are offering $75.89 with an upsurge of 2.28%.